Right, for more on this resignation, we're joined now by Councillor Mlungisi Mabaso of the IFP caucus in the city of Johannesburg. Mtungwa, good evening. Good to have you, and thank you very much for your time. Are you surprised at all at this development?
Well, thank you very much. Good evening to you, Putumdluli, and the viewers at home. No, we are not surprised. The resignation has been expected. In fact, we were expecting it last week because the pressure was mounting. Where even members of the same coalition has called for his resignation. Even alliance partners of the ANC has been calling for his resignation. So we are not surprised at all. In fact, it's something that we were expecting, because even if he did not resign tomorrow, he was going to be removed through a motion of no confidence. So I think it was an honorable thing for him to do tonight ahead of a council sitting tomorrow.
It seems, though, the government of local unity believes that their alliance is still intact, and there was really no question about their fighting off, for example, the other motions against the chief whip of council and the council speaker. Are you doubting I suppose, the security and the tightness of that alliance?
Well, we wouldn't understand really what is happening within that coalition because we are not part of it. But what we know is that the coalition was divided on the issue of the executive mayor. Hence, other members of the coalition called for his resignation, and they were going to support the motion of no confidence against the mayor, and which then tells you that there is a problem in that coalition. They can come out in public and say they are still intact, and all those things. But the reality is that if you are really that intact, you cannot then have another member of the coalition, making a public statement to say, I'm going to vote, in favor of the motion that is going to remove one of your own within the particular coalition.
It's political action, as the chairperson of the ANC in the Gauteng province puts it, Banyaza Lesufi, that has been taken here. But what is going to be the ramifications of this political action? Because we're not, as you put it, clear right now as to what actually happened that would have caused the Patriotic Alliance to do an about turn.
Well, currently, we are in a very predicament situation in Johannesburg. And we are, in fact, this is a crisis. Hardly 100 days, the executive mayor has resigned, because of political pressure that he received from one of his partners in the coalition. And yet we are, all calling for the stability in our council in Johannesburg. And we all understand and know that, political instability has, serious hindrances, when it comes to service delivery. And one now ask a question, why the motion of no confidence was put, in a multi-party coalition when they are unable to bring in stability, in this council of Johannesburg. Because there was nothing wrong with that government. That government was able, but they went ahead to put in a motion of no confidence, and they created all these instabilities in Johannesburg, where they are now uneven. Being able to identify a suitable candidate that will become the executive mayor of Johannesburg, that will drive and lead service delivery, that will drive stability in the city of Johannesburg. So all these crises, in fact, that have been created, by this government of local unit, has, made it very difficult even for investors to have confidence in Johannesburg, because everyone is looking at what is happening right now, all these instabilities that is happening, that has serious impact on service delivery, and people, they boldly come out to say there is no crisis, and the coalition is intact, knowing very well that there is a problem, and the problem, was seen when partners, called for the resignation of the executive mayor that they've installed. It was seen when the alliance partners of the ANC called for the executive mayor that they had supported.
So it's a rather precarious situation that we are in, because, again, we have not been given the reasons for his resignation, but we are given the note that says, look, there was reluctance to accept his resignations because we can't fault him, but look at what he has been able to achieve as a collective, potholes and crime fighting and clinics that have been opened and so on and so forth in the short time that he has been there. Is it really important for us to know why he resigned?
Well, I mean, they don't have to tell us. We all know why he had resigned. Coalition partners were not happy with him. The alliance of the ANC was not happy with him. Residents has lost confidence in him. So they don't have to spell it out. Everyone knows why the mayor had resigned, and everyone understands the pressure that he was in, because if he did not resign, he was going to be removed tomorrow. So he did an honorable thing, in fact, by resigning, because he saved himself from being out through a motion of no confidence. So they don't have to spell it out. Everyone understands and everyone knows why the mayor had resigned. And I said it was long overdue. We were expecting this resignation last week, in fact, and we don't know why it had to delay up until the eve of council meeting. But we all understand and know why the mayor had resigned. If they say there was a reluctance, from who? Reluctance was from who? Because even the ANC themselves, they had expected him to resign, and they had meetings where they had requested him to resign because they wanted to save coalition, because they were going to lose one of its members if he did not resign, because tomorrow one of its coalition member was going to vote in favor of the motion of no confidence to remove the very same mayor that they had installed.
It saves the government of local unity. That alliance stays intact, which means that the motion that is brought against the Speaker tomorrow and the whip of council is likely to fail. Should it still go ahead?
Well, the Speaker had announced, I watched it now on SABC, where she said the council of tomorrow will be postponed. So we are waiting for that formal communication from the office of the Speaker. But in the next council sitting, the motions are there in the agenda, and they will be tabled, and we are going to vote in those motions of no confidence. Whether the Speaker is saved or she is ousted through those motions of no confidence, that determinations will be done through that process in council. So as it currently stands, I cannot really confirm to say they are intact and they are going to save each other there, because one of their own was going to be removed by one of its partners. So we don't know what's going to happen in the next council sitting.
Talking about what's going to happen next, we are not sure also what's going to happen next as far as the mayor is concerned. It looks like the African National Congress, coming out of its NEC, have got a new framework on how a mayor in these coalitions should be appointed and how it should be selected. What does this mean, and how does this affect governance and the delivery of services, that you're going to have an alliance that clearly going forward from here on is going to have to be managed politically?
Well, I've listened to the former Premier of Gauteng, David Makhura, the NEC of the ANC, presenting the coalition document of the ANC. And I will say some of the things that he had alluded to there are the things that the IFP have been saying all along, that, when you form coalition, it must be on the basis of good governance, of stability, of prioritizing service delivery, and you need to make sure that, you do not get into a coalition for power sharing. And I think that is something that is missing in the country. It's something that we've been calling for as the IFP for the longest of time, to say our coalitions that are being formed in local municipalities, must put aside political ideologies and focus on service delivery, on good governance, and also on stability in those municipalities, so that there are no hindrances on service delivery. So I personally appreciate that the ANC has now finally, realized that when you engage or approach coalition government, you must put the residents, at the forefront of everything. You must put governance, good governance, at the forefront of everything. It should not be about power sharing, because when it becomes, power sharing, that's when you then lose, the sight of what is important in local government, which is to provide basic services to the residents.
Ntongo, appreciate your time. Thanks so much for coming on. That is councillor in the city of Johannesburg, Mlungisi Mabaso, there representing the IFP.